Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here's today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is maintenance-free rentals. Okay, I know. And let's be honest here. You will never own a home that is maintenance-free, but here are 5 tips to keep your ongoing maintenance costs under control. My first tip sounds expensive, but will save you a shit ton of money in the future, and that is LVP. If you acquire a rental that has carpet or mismatched flooring, go ahead and spend the money to replace all flooring with luxury vinyl plank. We even put LVP in the bathrooms. This product looks great, is scratch-proof, and waterproof. My second tip is to limit unnecessary appliances. This can be your garbage disposal, your ice maker, maybe even a dishwasher. If the rental doesn't have these extra appliances, it's less items you have to repair or replace when a renter breaks them. Third tip, buy a plunger for every bathroom. Enough said on that one. Tip number 4, if there's an HVAC unit, you or your maintenance team should schedule a time once a month to personally replace the filters. This will prolong the life of your HVAC unit, but will also get eyeballs on the inside of your property to keep everyone, shall we say, honest. My last nugget is for those of you that cover the cost of utilities in your rent. Tip number 5 is to install anything and everything that can be energy efficient. This can be low flow plumbing for your faucets and toilets, all the way to energy efficient LED lighting. So, next time you are checking out a potential rental, keep these tips in mind to keep costs down and profits up. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us a legend, folks. 5 years ago, Vance and I joined an education program, and this guy ran my very first immersion. He traveled to Raleigh and taught about 50 of us newbies how to evaluate properties for 3 days. My most terrifying moment from this event was when he forced me to say an elevator pitch in front of the room, and I totally froze. After kicking myself in the ass, I made sure I would never let that happen again. He pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I gotta say, I am forever grateful. He's a Marine Corps veteran serving 10 years of honorable service in the United States Marine Corps, with multiple deployments over the years and extensive training as an Ironman distance triathlete. Entrepreneurship and mindset has become a must for him. With a passion to help everyone think more like the bigger versions of themselves, this guest has set out to work on the mindset of those real estate investors wanting to think bigger, take on more in their life, and achieve the goals they only dreamed about. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast, Shawn Tiberio.
Well, thank you, Jen.
Please tell me I said your last name right.
You did.
Okay,
and
I thought so.
Congratulations for not freezing. I completely forgot about that.
Oh my God. I was so effing mortified. I literally, I still have the binder. I wrote word for word. I'm like, I'm never letting that shit ever happen to me again. And you pushed me. And now that I'm coaching real estate investor students, I am teaching them about creating your elevator pitch. And I tell them that story. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but this is what happened to me. There's this guy, Shawn. He was so mean. But honestly, you are so good at pushing people out of their comfort zones. And it's probably because of you that I have been successful in this business. So I am truly grateful for you. It is really, truly an honor to have you on the show. You are such a celebrity in the real estate investment world. So it's like stars in my eyes right now. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Give us a little background on you. Where are you right now?
I am in beautiful Southern California.
All right.
I say beautiful because I'm sitting here right now in the studio and I'm looking out these two huge glass windows, mountain view, and it's sunny. It's gorgeous. It's January. Most of the country's complaining about snow. And I think it's about 70 something degrees outside right now today.
Well, I grew up in South Florida, similar climate. I do not like heat at all. I'm sweaty all the time. So you can keep your keep your heat over there. I'm enjoying my little sweatshirt that I have on right now.
This is my favorite time of year here because the summers do get hot where we're at. We never get any rain and we never get the break from the sun. But this time of year, gorgeous. I'll take 70s any day of the week. Especially coming from Ohio, where I'm used to, where I grew up, with all the stuff that the majority of the country is dealing with right now. And that's the cold weather, the snow, the ice, the grayness, no sun. Yeah, miserable.
It's been crazy. So you grew up in Ohio. How'd you get involved in real estate?
So grew up in Ohio, turned around and I could not stand school. I was the kid that just could not wait to get out of school. I did just enough to get by. I was kind of the like see my way out of this thing mentality. And to shorten a big time frame, there was a 10-year window when I left high school. The only thing that I was really going to go do was the service. And that's when I joined the Marine Corps and went off. Never was intentionally going to be 10 years out of the gate. It was supposed to be 4 years, come back home kind of thing. Life changes, whatever. Fast forward, we're 10 years deep now. And a couple different events were going on in the world at that time. Too many deployments under my belt. I was tired of getting blown the hell up. Tired of missing out on some stuff, and I decided to get out. And when I got out, my entire family kept telling me, well, what the hell are you going to do? You have no skills. You were an explosives guy in the service. Not like you're going to get out and just start blowing up buildings all over the place. So I started driving semis. I was driving flatbed all over the east side of the United States. Basically anything east of the Mississippi, I was pretty much running them Sunday through Friday, come home for a day or two, do some laundry, crash, load the truck back up, and back out I went. And I was sitting in Detroit one night. I said, there's got to be something better than this. Like this is no different than deploying all the time in the Marine Corps. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I know construction. I grew up in the construction world. My first job at 15 was building condos and just kind of getting thrown around with the trades. One of the cool things the Marine Corps taught us was to blow a building up, to blow a bridge up, to blow things up. You kind of have to know how it's constructed to know where its weak points were. So I was like, I got this. I know construction, right? So I said, screw it. I'm going to park the truck and I'm going to go home and I'm going to start a construction company. And that was tail end of December of 2011. So as we're kind of cracking into 2012, I decided, here comes this construction company. By May of 2012, that got closed down. By June of 2012, we were considering real estate because I said, you know what? I don't want to go looking for and selling people and begging to go remodel their bathroom and their kitchen. I'm just going to go buy the whole freaking house, remodel the thing, and sell it. And that's how we got involved right out of the gate. It was I went to, like a lot of other real estate investors out there, I went to a hotel room one day and listened for something for a couple hours and ended up finding myself in a multi-day thing and then another multi-day and then another multi-day. And before you know it, education after education, I started realizing, wow, this is what caused me to fail the first time was I didn't know what I didn't know. I wasn't getting taught, didn't have the mentors, started to figure it out. And tail end of 2012, as we started to crack into 2013, handled a significant number of transactions. There was about 25 different transactions in that first about 8 months between bought rehabs and just wholesale deals. And I fell in love at that point with real estate, and real estate has been in my blood ever since that point.
Well, before we continue, I want to thank you for your service. And I just absolutely respect all the servicemen and women out there. So thank you for your service.
I appreciate that.
And thank you for getting into real estate, because you were one of my first like legit coaches out there that, and you mentioned an education program, and it's so important to get an education. I have many listeners that think they can watch a couple YouTube channels and, you know, I love Bigger Pockets. I'm not knocking Bigger Pockets, but they think they can listen to just a couple episodes of Bigger Pockets and flip a house. So tell me a little bit about, I know you value education. So anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I grew up as an athlete. And when I first got out of the service and got out of driving semi and tried to go after business for the very first time by myself, I kind of went into it with that same mentality. I kind of know it. I paid attention to my friend back in the day. I can figure this out. And I quickly realized that's like the fast track to failure every time when you try to go into something just thinking you kind of have this in the bag, or I'll just kind of get a little advice here and there. And all of a sudden, it wasn't until I actually went to that first educational event and was sitting there, and a few kind of moments hit you where they say something and you're like, holy crap, that makes total sense. And I didn't know that. Then all of a sudden I started to look back and was like, you know, business, I don't care what industry, but especially in the real estate world with things changing so fast, it's no different than sports. I start a sport. Maybe I have skill, but I need somebody to help me mold that skill. I need somebody to teach me some of the drills, some of the shortcuts, to fine tune some slight details, right? To help me get a little bit better faster. And that's how I excelled so well in sports. I was constantly going to camps. I was constantly going to trainings. My dad got me involved with a lot of kind of like one-on-one time with skilled position players, that kind of stuff. I was like, business is no different. I just need to spend more time around people that not necessarily are smarter than me. They've just done it already.
Yep.
Just need to be around them. And if I'm around them and listen to them and ask some questions, I will figure this out faster and safer than trying to go at it completely alone. And from that day forward, I mean, even to this day, you know, we've gone on to build multiple different businesses. I've sold businesses. I'm in another business right now, and we're doing really, really well, but I have mentors in my corner. You know, every day I'm on a mastermind call with other individuals like myself in businesses, learning mastermind. I get to, you know, help, but I also get to get that help back.
And you are so talented at that, by the way. I just have to say, and I fully agree. I coach students, but I literally just wrapped up a 3-day conference with Tim Brotz, and I'm learning myself more about commercial multifamily. So I truly believe 1,000%. So you mentioned a couple businesses, and we recently reconnected because I joined your Top Results Consulting group. Is it not a group? What is it?
I like to call it a family.
It is a family. And like you're helping me, like the nuts and bolts of it is you're helping me recreate my website and bumping it to the top of the SEO, the search engine optimization. But what is amazing in the price that I'm paying you, which is totally worth it, is you do calls daily, not just daily. You are jumping on calls and you are still sharing your knowledge with everybody else on what your area of expertise. And so let's talk a little bit about that. So tell people more about this. I literally just joined. My website's not even live yet. I'm driving your guy Max crazy, I'm sure, but because I'm so picky about things.
Good news is, I think as of right now, just before jumping on this, I saw an email. I think they're working on bringing it live. So.
Okay. I'm like, green light, go. So yes. And like for me as a professional, I'm so grateful just to hand that off to someone else. So tell us a little bit about your program here.
Yeah. So Top Results Consulting and REI Toolbox. REI Toolbox is our real estate division of Top Results. Like I said, all the way back to the very first deal I've ever done. Real estate's stuck in my blood, but TRC, REI Toolbox, we are a full stack digital marketing agency built by real estate investors for real estate investors, you know, through and through. My business partner, Roger, has been in the real estate world for about 6.5, 7 years. I'm going on about 10.5, 11 years now, almost 12 years at this point. in this game, we know the real estate world in and out. We're still involved in it. And what we've decided to do through the building this agency was we're going to just focus on helping real estate investors truly show up in the world the way consumers are actually looking for or gathering information or conducting business. 2020 shook us pretty hard in a number of ways, but one of the ways that it really shook was the way businesses need to connect with their consumers, and more online is becoming the norm.
Absolutely.
So we focus on really helping, someone like yourself, a real estate investor in a local market who serves local people in a situation. Well, when they're stressed out at night, they're not looking at the phone book. They're not scrolling the TV trying to find the help.
What? A phone book?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's called Google today. Now, that's where they're at. They're grabbing their cell phones. They're grabbing their tablets. They're grabbing their laptops at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to find an answer. And they're going to Google and Yahoo and Bing. And when you're not there at that moment, you miss out.
Absolutely. And I got to say, I was dumping a shit ton of money into Facebook ads. And for a while, it was great. But Facebook ads, it would just kind of pop up for people who may be considering selling their home. And so they're scrolling through their feed, and then, Jolific Homes pops up and, thinking of selling your home, and then you click on it. But what you do is focus directly on the person who is searching, like, buy my house, going into foreclosure, like all these searchable things. So give people who are too cheap to pay for your course what are some nuggets? Like, how can they, and by the way, and I say that, it is so important to pay someone to do this for you. I tried doing the Facebook ads myself, and I might as well just burned my wallet because it just didn't bring back the results I needed. I ended up hiring a virtual assistant who was fantastic. Kyle, love you. And just did a great job. But I feel like it's now transitioning, just like you said, 2020, now everything's going Google. Well, everything's been Google for a while, but it's just a great way to do it. So what are some tips to help people? But really, they need to go to you because it's super important to just pay someone who has all the tools to do this. But anyway, if you have any nuggets for people who, are just getting started.
Oh, I mean, how long you got? Because I could fill a ton. There's a reason why we do trainings every single day with our clients, because you can't just, you can't get this down in one listen, one watch, or just hearing it one time kind of thing.
Well,
but,
let me say one thing, because I just went through this, and I use Wix to create my website, which you moved it over to wherever you're using yours, but they ask for like searchable words and things like that. So little things, but then everybody's using the same word. So what are some tips there?
Yeah. The reason the big push, why are things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, that kind of stuff in the real estate world not the be all end all anymore? Just look at the way social platforms have changed. Look at the way what's going on. Again, I say 2020 shook us, and it shook us in a lot of different areas. Well, 2021 also shook us as some things changed in the political scene and some other things happened. And all of us, who takes the hit? The social platforms, right? So the user of a social platform has even changed. So that's why you see some dips there. But what's not changing is, at the end of the day, Google is the place. I mean, just think about how many times a day you say, or you hear somebody say, I don't know, Google it. I don't know, Google it.
I say, ask the Google. I call it
something
Google.
like that. Now, why is this so fast paced, and why do I 100% agree? Not saying you have to pay us, but just have somebody that knows what the heck they're doing. Google in itself, just in the last year, has done something like 12, 14 different updates to the way their algorithm works and to what they're looking for. So you need somebody kind of deep into that. Now, for the listener out there, if you're sitting there saying, okay, I see it, I understand it, I want to make this shift. The big tip that I could throw out there, it's really two. I say this all the time, and I'm actually writing a book with this title, that marketing in the real estate world is like dating. Think about when you and Vance first met, right? Vance didn't walk up to you and say, "Hey, Jen, my name's Vance. Let's get married." Right? You probably would have looked at him a little weird the very first time this individual was standing in front of me.
I mean, he wanted to the first time he met me.
Yeah, he might wanted to, but he's a smart guy. He's not going to say that right out of the gate and get shot down, right? But business, no different. They're not searching online for, I want my cash house, my cash offer today, and I want to let loose of my house today by the close of, 5 o'clock. They're trying to find the answer to whatever it is that they're dealing with. They're trying to look for what is some possible solutions. Just like in the dating world, I'm just trying to see what's out there. I want to get to know this individual first. I want to small talk with them for a little bit. Maybe I'll exchange phone numbers, and it's getting into a little deeper what I call the customer journey and awareness to engagement to subscribe, and where does all that fall into the business world? But that's where it starts. So the business that can show up digitally in the Google search, the Yahoo search, the Bing search for the questions that your avatar, and I put air quotes around avatar because it really gets super granular in the real estate world. We're not, yes, we can buy anything anywhere with the right numbers and figure out the solution, but your company can't be produced or kind of put a message out there like that, or you're never going to be able to speak to the right person. Because go back to Susie sitting on the couch, 3:30 in the morning, stressed because she got 2 kids in the other room sleeping, and she got foreclosure notice from the bank earlier today as a single mom. All of a sudden, she's looking for something really, really specific, right?
Right.
And if you can answer what Susie's thinking at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning with that situation, you're going to move her to the next phase. She's going to go on some dates with you. She's going to reach out to your company and talk a little bit. She's going to fill out a form. She's going to call your phone. She's going to offer to have you come over and take a look at the house and give her some solution and work the next step. Why? Because you were able to handle her situation and answer her when stress hit her, right? That's what social platforms can't do for us. That's what trying to rely on something like a Facebook ad or a yellow letter, because we got to hit them at the right moment when they're in that position. Whereas when we play the search side, if we're there all the time, when they're looking for us, they'll find us. I don't have to try to target them.
And I love that you said that, and you mentioned yellow letter. So, I mean, we still do direct mail. It's just been a very consistent marketing for us, but you have to cast a very large net to maybe get someone to call you. When you have Google and they are literally in that position that you were talking about, Susie, and she just starts Googling it, and then you want your website to pop up. And like you were talking about, there's algorithms, there's all this stuff. So when you are making your website on Wix or on GoDaddy or whatever, they tell you, oh, here's for your search engine optimization. But what you touched on is that there's algorithms and they're constantly changing. And I cannot stress how important it is to have someone monitor that for you. If you want to be top in your search, you have to have someone be in charge of that. So what tools do you use? I'm sure you have these people all over the place that know, and they're on these algorithms. Is it algorithms? Am I saying the right word?
You are.
Okay. So how do you all?
I mean, that's the luxury in our business.
Yes.
I got a business partner that I joke. Most of us wake up in the morning and we drink our coffee, and that's when we play on social platforms, right? And scroll around. I joke that Roger gets up in the morning, has his coffee, and reads Google's handbook.
What is Roger's last name?
Valdez.
Okay. I don't know Roger.
Well, you have to get on some of these calls.
All right, Roger. Shout out to Roger Valdez. Hey. Okay.
We call him the Google Nader in the business for a reason. When it comes down to the algorithm side, right? A lot of businesses, this is where they make a mistake. They think they're trying to please the searcher at all times, right? Everything needs to be about what Susie, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, stressed about foreclosure, wants to read. And there's a huge truth to that. However, there's this other component, and it's the biggest component that platforms like Wix and some of the other ones that you were naming miss on. And that is, we need to please Google, Yahoo, Bing. Remember, they're businesses. Google needs to make money to survive. Well, how do they make money? They make money through a number of different ways, a number of different service offerings and products and tools that they have out there. The other way that they make money is by keeping you using their platform. If you, the company, are getting traction, getting leads, people are coming to you because they're searching on there and finding you, you are more likely to give Google more business. You're going to start doing paid traffic in their paid ad section. You're going to buy some of their other products. You're going to fall in love with Google Gmail suites and some of the other stuff that they have out there, right? Because at the end of the day, Google's working for me. Right. If I'm not getting anything from Google because Google doesn't want to give me results, I'm going to eventually walk away. So we need to please Google so that they'll give us the rankings. They'll move us up so that we get the traffic, and they want to do that. And they literally give you the list. When you actually dig into what Google's asking for, they tell us exactly what you need to be doing to get there. Now, is it that easy where it's just a checklist and you just go, no, it's not that simple, but it's not like we're trying to guess either. We know in the real estate space what Google's really looking for. And if we take you and your brand and we do that in time, we get Google's attention. In time, they like you more. And in time, they start to give you more of the results.
And so how long
we just got to keep them happy.
Good. So, and how long does this normally take? So I'm just going to ask that question. How long does this normally take to get ranked up there towards the top?
It all depends on the market, to be honest. You're in the North Carolina market. You're over in the Raleigh-Durham area. It's a little bit more competitive than, let's say, one of our clients up in Charleston, West Virginia, where, what's really happening in Charleston?
Not a lot. Jordan?
That is Jordan. Now he's killing it because it didn't take us very long to get him up to the top, and he gets a ton of organic traffic.
He is killing it.
But we look at somebody like yourself in Raleigh. We look at some of our clients in the Atlanta market. We got them in Dallas. We got them in Florida. I mean, we got them all over the country, and every market's slightly different. So to be able to say, hey, Jen, it's going to take, X number of months on it. Can't really do that. But what I do say all the time is SEO is also not in the organic side of real estate marketing. It's not something that's the quick fix, meaning I can't just do it and expect that I'm going to get leads this first month and be good. And I don't need to do any other marketing, but it's also one of the ones that it's like wine. The longer it goes, the better it gets, the more kind of flourished it becomes. And all of a sudden it's like, that's a really, really good tasting wine. Well, you start looking at the business like, that's a really, really good marketing channel. And we're starting to really own it. And it just kind of consistently brings us stuff when we're not even expecting it. And it builds itself to a way where all of a sudden the other marketing doesn't need to be so consistent then.
Right. And this is
have the gaps.
And this is why it's so important to have someone like you on your team, is to monitor all of this. And a lot of people, their mistake is they are like, oh, I'll do the SEO. And they do it for 2 or 3 months, and they're putting maybe say $1,000 a month, maybe, $1,500 a month to do this, and nothing happens. But it takes time to evolve. And I know there's, like, when you Google, sell my house fast in Raleigh, for example, you have a couple paid ads first. Like I don't have money for those kind of ads, because I know they're probably 6-7 figures, but then I want to be underneath those. And so that's what your program does for small businesses like myself, correct?
Correct. That, and there's a section in between those two.
And by the way, listeners, don't ever click on the ads, because those people are paying like a shit ton of money. Go to the real people underneath. So skip past where it says ad, and then click on the next one. Sorry, keep going.
I always joke, unless you see your competition up there, and then you can click them out of business. Just click refresh. Kidding on that. But there's a section right underneath it, and it's something Google's pushing like crazy. And that is the what they call the Google Maps, or the Google local kind of listings section. Well, as a real estate investor, you're a local business, right? You're in Raleigh, North Carolina. The stuff that's needing to show up for Raleigh isn't things that, you decide to do business in Montana tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Right? We want the Raleigh stuff there. So the ideal would be you're in the ad section, you're in the map section, and you're at the top of the organics.
Oh.
But there's a ton of data out there that shows that the ad costs start to come down. Your cost per click comes down when you've got stronger SEO. Because at the end of the day, Google cares about what they call authority. The stronger authority that you have with Google, the more they like you. It's basically what I'm saying. The more likely they are to put you at the top of the ad section. People don't even know that you actually have to rank in the ads, not just pay to be up there. There's actually a structure and a ranking process to get to, and how often you're actually the top ad, that kind of stuff. But there's also a ton of data that says 75% of search results get clicked on in the number 1 to number 5 organic spot. 75%, 3 out of every 4 people skip past ads, Google Maps, and go to the first 5. Now there's even deeper data that says the top 3 get about 70 to 80% of that 75%. So where do you really want to be at? Number 1, number 2, number 3.
Yep.
Now, if you're not even in the, what we call the golden spots, 1, 2, 3, you basically don't even exist. Not a lot of people even realize there's a page 2 to Google. If they don't find it by the time they get through the 3rd, 4th, 5th, they don't go to the next page. They go back up, they retype in a search, they kind of change the way that they're writing it to see if they get a better result. And then they're same thing, going back to that 1, 2, 3 kind of piece. So with us,
and I did not even know that, and that's what I do. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and I say that all the time. We are our best, kind of like customer research, just in this world. Look at your behaviors online, and your audience, the whoever you serve, no matter your industry, they're doing the same things. For some reason, when we own a business, all of a sudden we like cut it off and go, "Oh, it's different." It's different over here. No, it's the same. You do the exact same thing as your customers are doing. You're just not allowing yourself to pay attention to that piece, right? That's why I go back to the dating analogy. If I didn't like, right, I'm Jen now. If I didn't like the small talk that I had with Vance the first day, well, guess what? I'm going back to the pool. I'm going back up to change my search. I'm going somewhere different that Vance isn't around, and I'm going to see what else is out there. And then I'll continue my process. But for your sake, you must have liked what Vance had to say because you moved on.
Yes. I'll just leave it at that. We actually dated for a few months and then broke up and just stayed really, really good friends and then got back together. But that's a whole other story. But anyway, I am so excited to be part of the Top Results Consulting group right now, family, as you call it. Do you have, I said a badassery bestowment at the beginning of this podcast. Do you have a badassery bestowment that you can share with the listeners?
Yeah, as you were kind of throwing yours out, I mean, the biggest one that I've kind of already dropped most of it through here, and that is I always encourage people, think of your, like literally think like you're dating your prospects. If you can think of it that way. And when we look at it from a digital standpoint, you know, why are apps like Match and
that's how Vance and I met, was Match.com.
Why are they all taking off? Because it's low threshold. I can lay on my couch, not worry about anything, and swipe through until I find something that catches my attention, right? I don't have to go out and do anything. Well, business, same thing. They want to sit and they want to be able to just search and scroll through things to figure it out. And then they want to be able to connect with you, which I call the engagement phase, without changing anything, right? So on Match, I can say yes to somebody, and if they yes me back, now I can actually message them. Well, if I say, yes, I found what I'm looking for in the search, I can actually maybe chat right with the company from their website. I can fill out a form. I don't have to talk to anybody. It's not scary, right? I don't know too much about them yet. I can go into this kind of small talk dating idea until I'm ready to subscribe, right? Until I'm ready to give them my real phone number, go on a date face-to-face kind of thing.
Like take down my profile. You know, that's huge.
Yeah, well, that's customer, right? Now, once I've kind of ascended the customer ladder and I'm a raving fan of doing business with this company, I go and take my profile down and I'm not on the platform anymore. So I've made my commitment.
I'm sure there are a lot of listeners that want to start dating you. So how do they become a part of this Top Results consulting group?
Well, unfortunately, they can't date me. Deanna might be a little mad at that one, but you can definitely date our company.
Excellent.
On there, but there's a ton of ways to get in touch with us. Obviously, you can just find me anywhere on social media at Shawn Tiberio, online, ShawnTiberio.com.
And it's SHAWN, by the way. He's one of those weird spellers, but go ahead.
No, it's Shawn, not seen, right? So it's got to have that SH. At least that was the little bit of school I did pass. But Shawn Tiberio on most social platforms. I'm pretty active on Facebook still, even though that's, old school. Very active on the Instagram platform, ShawnTiberio.com digitally, or Top Results Consulting. Same exact thing. TopResultsConsulting.com, Top Results on all the social platforms. Or if you're real estate specific, REIToolbox.com is the place to go. It's where a lot of our information is at. We very easily can schedule a quick call, jump on, talk to you, see what you got going on, see what your goals are, see how we can help you based on what you currently got. Like I said before, you kind of alluded to this too. There's a ton of tools out there. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot in our arsenal where within a 15, 20-minute window, I can pretty much tell you what's going on in your market and where you kind of sit and what it's going to take to get you there. Kind of like we did with Jen, and kind of gave her here's first steps. If we can get you here, this is where we'll move you to. And then, obviously once we get you rolling there, the next step above that's going to kind of put the fuel on the fire, so to say. So,
and with a lot of these tools out there, you don't get daily calls with the owners of the company. I'm telling you, people, this is amazing and such a service. And like you said, it's a family. And I knew exactly you're talking about Jordan because he is part of the family and I have seen it. And my friend JP Kilduff, shout out to JP, is the one who referred me to you on this program. I'm like, I know Shawn. And so it was a chance for me to reconnect with you. So I absolutely love that. So the second half of the podcast is what makes Shawn Tiberio a badass, which is perfectly clear to everyone. Oh, before we go on to this, by the way, listeners, listen. I just finished up this course myself, and for you to run a $10 an hour business, stop doing the $10 an hour tasks. I'm going to screw this up. If you want to run a $100 an hour business, you need to start investing in your business. This right here, getting you ranked, your SEO, your search engine optimization, is a great way to do it. So the number may shock you. It didn't shock me. I was like, Shawn, take my money. It was just one of those things where he provides so much for what it costs. You've got to get over it, people. If you want to invest in your company and shoot straight to the top, you have to get out of that mindset of doing these small tasks for a little bit of money. Am I saying that right?
Totally. Now you're playing on my mindset side.
Okay. All right. And all right. I do want to get into the second half here. So I use the acronym BADASS, and Shawn, you are clearly a badass, but the first letter is B for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Well, outside of the book I wrote, my own book,
which I want to get into, but keep going.
Fortifying Your Mind. The book that I probably reference more than anything is by Gary Keller, and it's The One Thing. I personally believe that should be issued with your business license. Like when you apply for a business license, they should give you the book, The One Thing. It has completely changed, not just me, but it's completely changed the way I look at business, the way I help our team, the way I help our clients look at business. Go get it.
Such a good book. And yes, I pointed to it because it's right on my bookshelf across from me. But I do want to talk about your book, and it's Unleash the Inner Lion, or what is it?
That's the event. Unleash Your Inner Lion is the event that's designed off of the book, so that if you don't want to just read and you want to experience it firsthand, the Unleash Your Inner Lion event is about that. But the book is called Fortifying Your Mind. It's how to apply battle-tested tactics to elevate both your life and your business. I basically took the 5 key tactics that we used in combat in my Iraq and Afghanistan deployments and translated how did those combat tactics actually apply in the business world and in your life world.
Wow. And you actually are an Ironman athlete or what is it? Triathlete?
Yep. Ironman triathlete. Been doing that for quite some time.
And I joked when we got on this call because you are very buff gentleman. I'm like, oh, Shawn, did you get stung by something? And you're like, what?
Yeah, that's called the COVID-20 right now. I haven't been training or racing as much as I would like to.
But speaking of training stuff, and I'm totally dropping off the topic of the badass here, but you almost died like months ago. So what was that all about?
Yeah, we were up on Mount Whitney. My girlfriend and I were summiting the Mountaineers route of Mount Whitney, and woke up in the middle of the night one night and was experiencing some weird things that I'd never experienced. And her and I both didn't really have a clue what it was. We were paying attention to altitude sickness from a whole other realm, things that I usually show symptoms of. And it wasn't until managed to get off of the mountain, come back down, got to the VA hospital 2 days later, that I came to find out I had what's called high altitude pulmonary edema. Oof. Basically, my lungs were filling up with blood. And I had what they said was a very severe case. The 20-something doctors that eventually came around couldn't even believe that I made it off the mountain by myself and that I even survived that night. So,
wow. And I remember you posted a picture and everyone's like, oh, feel better. Feel better. And then I wrote, I can see your boobie. Because it was just your
ER room.
Your sheet was down just a little bit. I'm like, ooh, I could see his boobie. All right. Sorry. I digress. I do remember that. That was like August. That was just a few months ago.
It was.
All right. Focus, Jen. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I'm going to tell you, it's a quote that I kind of live by this quote, and I didn't make this quote up or write this quote. I don't know where I saw it, heard it, whatever the case. So I can't really say who gets the credit for it. But it's this quote that I live by it goes like this. It's not that I can and others can't. It's that I have and others haven't. Mm-hmm. The reason I go back to that quote is some of the best advice I've ever been given is just go do it. Just get it done. Go fail, go try, go screw it up, whatever the case. And as I look back, I made a ton of mistakes over the years in business and in life. But at least I can say I did it. Whereas a lot of other people sit out there and go, someday, I wish, maybe, right? And the only thing separating me and most people is I've done it.
I love it.
Maybe it was right, maybe it wasn't, but I did it.
Love it. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives Shawn Tiberio to be successful?
Really, it's the people that I'm around. Obviously, as an entrepreneur, we want to make money. We want, we've got our version of what success looks like to us physically. But there's this other side of success for me that I've always kind of held on to. I feel like I was put here to help other people achieve what they want. And in the process, it's the Zig Ziglar saying there, right? In the process of that, I will get where I want to go. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to, when I'm done, be able to say I've impacted enough people and that I feel good about that. So what drives me every day is just getting, that's why we do the daily calls. I have people in my industry that look at me and say that we're crazy for giving that much support and doing that much for what we charge in our package. We should be selling, and there's mastermind mentors out there that are like, you should be selling that for $50,000 a year kind of thing.
No, don't.
It's not about just the money, right? I love showing up every day and just seeing a light bulb go on for somebody and watching them go do something.
Well, I am the result of you doing that and sharing your wisdom with others. Like, I will never, ever forget when you put me in front of all those people and maybe do my stupid elevator pitch. And I was like, oh, Mike, and I froze, and it's so unlike me. And you have a gift of pushing people out of their comfort zone. And I am truly appreciative of that. So all joking aside, you are the man, and thank you for that, Shawn.
Thank you.
All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
We got a couple. one I'm personally working on is we're doing something really crazy this year. When I say we, Roger and myself, the two owners of this company, we're actually disappearing for the entire month of July. We're going, when I say disappear, I'm talking like complete off grid, backcountry, taking him and a couple other individuals.
Stay away from Mount Whitney.
Well, no, we're going back on Mount Whitney. We're actually 25 days or so. We're going to be doing the John Muir Trail, completely off grid, away from technology and away from the company. And so what's driving me right now is to get us to a point by the time July hits to where we feel pretty good about handing the reins of this entire operation over to our team and letting the two owners step aside for almost a month. And that's pretty scary. And there's a lot of people that, you know, are listening to this right now going, there's no way I could do that.
No, I'm one of them.
Again, I go back to that quote, you know, when it's said and done, what's going to separate us from doing this and somebody else? We did it. Mm-hmm. That's it. You know, we won't know if it's going to work until we go and try it. So,
well, good for you. That just gave me a little sweat on my brow thinking about that, but yes, very impressive. All right. The first S in badass is systems. What are systems you have in place to help you achieve success?
My go-to system is meetings. And I guarantee somebody just cringed when I said that. Very strategic meetings, though. We have a standing meeting every single week with the executive level of our business. And the other part of that system is the structure of that meeting. We all show up to that meeting as equals. Even though Roger and I are the owners, the other executive members that we have, our executive staff that's on there, when we're on that call, everybody's equal. There's no Shawn, the CEO, Roger, the COO, and Itzel, the operations manager. It's all of us equal, and there's 4 or 5 others that get on there, and it's full open discussion. Like, people have the free reign to say what they need to say to myself, to Roger, and vice versa, and no feelings get hurt, no grudgement gets held. And when we made that adjustment early on and went to that kind of format, and not just this business, I've done it in a number of businesses, I've watched them skyrocket. Because that system of just being able to say, we've got kind of got like the punching bag room. You know, you can show up, you're pissed at me about something, great, you can take it out on me on that meeting because we've got the free reign to do that there. And we'll figure it out from there, and then we make adjustments. And we don't have any of the hate after that.
I love it. Get it all out in the open. Get it over with. And I love meetings too. Vance and I, we schedule a weekly meeting every Sunday at 5 p.m. We share a toothbrush holder, but we purposely get together and have certain points that we touch on, because you may assume your partner knows something, but you have to go through, topics and making sure that everybody's on the same page. So I agree 1,000% on that. I actually like a meeting. All right. The last S in badass is success. What does success mean to Shawn Tiberio?
If you can get up every day, go through your day, and go to sleep at the end of the day and enjoy every moment of it, I believe you're living success. I don't think success is ever defined by money or status or what you actually have. For me, it's if I wake up every day and I'm happy and I go through my day, and when the day comes to an end and I go to lay down in bed and I roll over and I look at Deanna and I tell her good night, if I'm in a good mood, I believe I'm living success.
Well, I love it.
Because I designed that.
Yep. Right?
And if you're sitting there going, every day sucks, I'm stressed, well, then change your design. You are creating that. If you don't like your job, go find a different job. You don't like the business, change the business. You don't like what's happening, fix it, right? Stop reliving the same thing over and over again. Design it and love every day. You've achieved success.
Well, what a great way to end this. Tell us one more time how listeners can find you.
You decide. Social media at Shawn Tiberio is the easiest place. Online, ShawnTiberio.com, topresultsconsulting.com, or reitoolbox.com. Any one of those 3. you're going to end up in. Don't feel bad if you go to the wrong one. We'll help you. We'll guide you to the right place for the right outlet, depending on what you're looking for. But fastest way is at Shawn Tiberio on Facebook or Instagram. I still am the guy behind my social media. I don't have that outsourced.
I really thought the first time I had reached out to you that I was talking to like a VA, but I was like, oh my God, I really think it's him. So thank you. And thank you, Shawn, for guiding me. I'm truly grateful for you and all that you have bestowed to me. We were talking about the word bestowed. So thank you. And that is all. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.